started the recording.
Okay.
The objective is
Right here, make sure that we're just trying to flash her, right? No reason to try to line up for shots. All you have to do is flash her, and then that's just an easy kill to go for. Right? We kind of forget about this ability, as well as the fact that here, when we hear her shooting, we want to make sure that we're already pre-aiming at her, right? So here, you're gonna notice that when we walk out here, we just stare straight forwards and then do a slow turn. So staring straight forwards, and then we do a slow turn like after we've already left the doorway, right? But with crosshair placement, I believe we talked about crosshair placement last time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Okay, so we talked about crosshair placement last time, right? When we hear her shooting on our left side, we want to make sure that we're turning, already looking at her, right? And then here we just want to make sure that we're using flash.
Thank you.
Excuse me for dropping in. How about a little pen?
All right, you can see, you notice again that we're kind of walking around staring at the floor. So crosshair placement again, just being a thing like, you see where a crosshair's at, that's just gonna mean that, someone walks through and we had to do a lot of adjustment.
Now, hold on.
All right, so compositions here. Team comp dictates playstyle. When they're on a different team composition, we have to play differently. And when our team's on a different comp, we have to play differently. When they are on the current team comp, they have a Sombra, they have a Monkey, they have a Genji. They have a lot of divey kind of aspects of their kit. Are you familiar with the term dive?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're on a dive comp here, or half of a dive comp here, right? So when they're on a comp like that, the big thing is we want to make sure that we're sticking with our team, right? When we wander away from our team, this does two things. First off, if they get dove, we are now not there to help them out with a flashbang and to keep them off from off of our supports. And then when we get dove, that means that our supports aren't unable to heal us, right? Because we're isolating ourselves. So basically, when we're up against a comp like that, we want to make sure we're sticking with our team much, much more often. When we're not up against a comp like that, then we can go do this all day, any day. We can go off and do this as much as we want, because this gets us around shields and it gets us around tanks. And this is kind of going on an off angle or a flank here. But so this would be fine if they're on any other comp. But because they're on a dive, we need to make sure that we're sticking with our team. So in this instance, we're just kind of isolating ourselves from them, and then that means that Genji's able to come duel us. If that was Genji and Samurai, we'd be dead. Seems like we need to get faster with our shots a little bit. Every time we flash someone, there's a little bit of a delay before we start shooting. With both with right click and left clicks. Here looking at our aim on Reinhardt. Let's watch this. So we go shoot. Shoot. All right, so we're keeping it relatively on him, but again, we notice that our crosshair is very low on his body.
Yeah.
All right, so just watch where crosshair's at, because here we just don't really keep it on top of at head level at all, right? And when we're not keeping a crosshair at head level, we just can't hit headshots. So body, 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 body. Then here when we come in here, we have a crosshair in the right spot. We just hesitate a little too long, and then the flashbang effect wears off. Right, so again, hesitation, ruining it.
I need a doctor.
Alrighty. There's a lot of tiny little mistakes that are adding up. We also reloaded there when we still had 5 ammo.
Back into the mix.
And we also shot into Genji, right? So just nothing major, it's just a bunch of small things that keep adding up, right? When we make 10 tiny mistakes in a fight, that really makes a big difference.
Yeah. Oh, this is a horrible game. I do not like this one.
Oh well, it's usually good to go over games where you played all right rather than games where you weren't playing that well. Did I ever? Oh snap! I never linked the thing to you. Okay, that's not good. Sorry. So for future reference here, I can um I have like some criteria for replays that make it easy to or like that basically what you should be looking for when you're doing that. Let me just copy
Okay,
paste it to you real quick. That's my bad. Apparently never did it for you.
it's fine.
All right, but yeah, that's just you want games that weren't a roll on either side. It was kind of even, right? As even as you can get it. Preferably a loss, but it's okay to be a win. And then
Okay,
that way, know, you get a game where you're not playing terribly because when you're playing terribly, you're like, oh yeah, of course, I don't usually make those same mistakes, right? And if you don't usually make
right.
those mistakes, then those aren't really mistakes that we should be going over. We want to go over the mistakes that you make all the time.
Okay, so should I like send you a whole nother or just like
If you
wait till
have
next?
if you feel like you have a better one, then we can go over that.
Okay. Uh, let's see. I think this one is better. Share. Do, 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 do. Copy. Paste. Okay.
All right.
Traveling to Dorado. Ready for battle.
Hey, good.
We're all so.
What are you going to do when the fight? Use your
This
heads
will
out there.
restore you.
We get
Wait, was
you
I
now.
playing so? Oh,
Yes, you are.
okay.
You want in the over McCree instead?
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you're good. It's my bad for not getting you the thing. So it looks like we go Soldier, then Junkrat, then Reaper, and Reaper, and Reaper. All right. In general, have we talked about maybe I don't know if we because sometimes sorry I have a lot of customers and when especially like on
Yeah.
the second one until like the third or fourth I always forget like who I said what with. Have we talked about like maybe kind of narrowing in on specific heroes rather than having a super diverse hero pool?
Uh, I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
remember,
Yeah. Okay. Well,
honestly.
it looks like especially in this game, but also when you were sending what character you play on Fiverr, it seemed like quite a bit.
Yeah.
Just in general, this is completely up to you, and it's gonna really depend on kind of what your motivations are for playing the game and what your goals are. If you're just trying to have fun, play whatever characters you want to play. Don't listen to any advice I'm saying. But if your goals to improve, the best way to do that is probably going to focus in on like 2 to 3 characters rather than trying to focus on like 10. Because for if we do, for example, let's say 2 versus 10, right? If you have 1,000 hours, that's 100 hours per character with 10 characters. But if you focus in on 2 characters, now that's 500 hours on each character, right? So now you have,
Right.
you know, quintupled your amount of play time on the character, which means that you get used to abilities, you get used to play style, you get used to positioning with the character, right? So I probably recommend trying to stick with kind of certain 2 to 3 characters. Sorry, I'm stuttering a lot right now. 2 to 3
It's fine.
characters, rather than diversifying through like 10, and then that'll
Right.
help you get better faster.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to try to look for another one, or do you want to just go over the last one we had?
Ready for battle.
I want to try. If this one doesn't work, then we can just go over the last one or
All right.
whatever. Hold on. Temple of Anubis. Here. It's always something with me. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
All right. I do have to say, In this one, I think I went Junkrat for like a few minutes or something, like, and then I died and switched back to
Mhm.
McCree. So once
Yeah,
I changed to Junkrat, you can skip
Now
that or something.
entering the
I don't know.
yeah,
I
that
think I
works.
don't
ready
play
for
Junkrat for
battle.
too long.
Ready for battle. 2, 1.
All right.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
So this was up with the last one as well. Trying to be on time walking out of spawn. It's just a little tiny consistency thing that just you'll notice adds up over time. Because last time it looked like we were late to walk out of spawn, and this time it looks like we're a little bit late to walk out of spawn. Right.
Yeah.
Last time is probably more important because last time we were just like 10 seconds late. This time the big thing is just that Reinhardt's gonna walk ahead of us, and if he's shielding us to walk through, we lose that shield here. So we just get shot at for free. Like that, exactly. If someone tickled you for half a second, we died. So just try to make sure that you're, walking out of spawn with your team and you're not just being delayed with that. Just a tiny little thing.
I need healing. Oh, excuse
Okay, very nice. Alright, nice kill here. Only thing I would say is that we kind of don't shoot here. You want to constantly be spamming on DPS or pretty much
Yeah.
any character you're on, right? So here we just kind of stare at Reinhardt and don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot. Instead of turning around and looking for it and then rolling away, and we can probably just walk forwards away from it. It's 3 seconds before it blows up. You don't have to panic about it. So that's just more time we could have been using this to just look and shoot. Nice flashbang here, good follow up on it, and then we just end up getting a headshot. So that's unfortunate.
This life's never uneventful.
Mercy on call.
Much obliged.
Be using this time to just get spam damage in, get ult charge, right? Get potential for kills. Just want to be using this time. Very rarely you want to be AFK in this game because there's always something you can do.
Okay. Yeah, I was just waiting for my team. I didn't want to get staggered or anything like that.
Mhm. Yeah, use a lot more time where we're just kind of sitting there, right? Just make sure that we're constantly having a damage output. Here we're, we shoot once, twice, 3 times, okay, and then we just kind of chill in the corner, chill in the corner, chill in the corner, right? And then we start shooting again, right? Just make sure cutting out those times we're not really doing anything. Okay.
Oh,
Very rarely you're gonna want to roll forwards into the enemy team. Focus
yeah.
again on survivability because survivability does seem pretty low. We end up dying quite a bit just because we're getting too aggressive. So here, just make sure you're not getting too aggressive. McCree is a medium range character, right? He is capable of shooting at a long range, but at a long range he gets fall off damage, and he is capable of fighting at a close range, but at close range there's a ton of stuff that can kill him super easily. Like there's multiple characters in the game who have closer range than he does. So for example, Roadhog, Reinhardt, those characters are just gonna do more to him if he's like rolling into them. And on top of that, we're leaving cover and running out into the open space when we're doing this, right? Ahead of our tanks too. So we just don't want to be getting aggressive here, and that results in us dying.
Yeah.
I've got unfinished business.
Orisa online. Greetings.
Please move behind the barrier.
My ultimate is ready.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Okay, nice kill, but again, we're hitting a lot of body shots, not a lot of headshots. Make sure we're aiming head level.
Yeah.
Let's watch this. Make sure when you're going on a little flank like this that you're adding in crouches. Crouches that will muffle your footsteps and make it harder for people to hear you and therefore locate you. Here we just kind of run straight through, and then that just means that if anybody is listening, which it's silver, they probably won't. But let's say this is gold, this is plat. Right now, people are listening just a little bit better, and they notice you going up behind them. Make sure again our crosshair placement, right? Well, look at where our crosshair is when we're walking through here. Okay. Do we
Sorry
see?
about that.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, I thought you heard my dog barking. Nothing.
Oh, no. Do we see anybody on point here?
No.
Where do we know where are the enemies here?
On the bridge above.
Okay, so look at our crosshair while we're walking through. Right, we kind of again do really slow turnaround when we know that they're above us, right? We know that they're all on this little platform here.
Yeah.
We kind of like come in here and we're just like, huh, where they at, right? and then we turn around. So we want to make sure we're keeping our crosshair where we know they're gonna be.
Oh, there. Taking the fall.
All right, make sure that when we're going on a flank like that we're syncing it up with our team. All right, pay attention to what your team's up to. If we are going in here and our team is not creating pressure at the same time, then that means that the entire team can look at us, right? And we notice that because Reinhardt, Ash, Hog, and Moira look at us, right? Which means that, we just die instantaneously. Now, if we do that the same exact time that our team's coming through, now if they all look at us like this, our team just runs right into them and they die. If they all look at the team and don't look at us, then we kill them in the back line, right? So we create space for each other, right? When we sync up with our team, when we go in by ourselves, then that means that we just end up feeding because we're going in on our own, right? So try to sync it up with your team. Make sure you're paying attention to what your team's up to. Seems like awareness is a bit low here. On top of that, we just end up missing the headshot. So here you might be essentially when you get a flashbang, right? If they're full HP here, you might be better off just going for a right click because you also have roll to just reset it. The other thing is you have to be thinking about what's your out. What happens once you flashbanger, right? If we flashbanger here and roll this way, what happens?
All right. Sorry. What were you saying?
Oh yeah,
I was listening, but I was muted. Okay. So.
Yep. If we flashbang and we roll backwards, what happens? Like we have to think about how we're gonna get out here.
Oh. Well, I have no cover or whatever, so she's just gonna shoot me. Or
Yep.
whatever.
And everyone else on their team shoots us. Now,
Yeah.
where's maybe a different direction that we could go here that results in us being a little bit safer once we get the flashbang and maybe the kill off.
Uh, left side or whatever.
Yep. We could also
Right.
just roll straight forward. So you go in the
Or,
left room,
yeah.
or we can just run off the edge here and just get out. Right. So just make sure that we're having a proper plan to escape here. On top of that, when we flashbanger here, oftentimes the reason why headshotting's good is because they're already low, or you hit a first shot and then flashbanged and then headshot them. If they're full HP and you're going here, you just probably be better off right clicking. Oh, actually she is half, so you would be fine with a headshot as long as you hit it. Okay, we roll into point and then we just die, right? And then we also talked about how you were out of sync with your team.
Right.
Right, but in general, we are 3 or 2 minutes and 50 seconds into the game and we don't have our first ultimate yet, right?
Oh,
Which
dang.
means that just what that tells us is that you just aren't doing enough damage, right? Which means
Yeah.
that we aren't shooting enough, means that we're not hitting enough headshots. It just means that we're not participating enough. And that's just an easy way that we can tell that. It's just because we have a very slow ult charge here. Make sure you're using your roll when you're coming out of spawn. Again, just a lot of tiny little things that we need to work on getting consistent because it all adds up. Like, we're inconsistent in so many tiny areas. Like, when we're walking back from spawn here, just use your roll because it's a 6-second cooldown. It's not like if we use it now, we're not going to have it for the whole rest of the next fight, right?
Yeah.
We don't need it for anything but mobility right now, so we just use this and now we get back a second or two faster.
I just wanted to point out. Have you noticed how like I haven't been jumping? Like the last time you were coaching me, I was always jumping around or whatever.
Yeah,
You told me to
I
jump.
do see that I wrote that in the notes. So yep, that's a good habit to have broken.
Uh,
Run. 60 seconds remaining.
Again, when you're going on a flank like this, make sure you're crouching to minimize sound.
yeah.
Because now Roadhog probably heard you. Let's see,
Yeah.
I don't know if he's just walking up here on accident or if he knew you were there. Oh, he saw us. All right.
Oh crap.
So now Roadhog's chasing us. The other thing is that we're doing this, after we saw that the fight was lost.
Yeah.
Were we aware? So I could also see us being maybe aware that it was lost, but walking in just so that we could be there for next fight. Do you think maybe you were doing this just for next fight? I guess we can see, like, do we immediately go in or do we wait here? I guess would be the question. So we crouch, yeah. So I think we know it's lost. So the only thing I would say is just make sure you're careful when you're walking in here. Look around you. Pay attention. Do they see us? Right. So rather than just staring right side here, be a little bit more with your camera. Like, look around. Right. It looks like a lot of the times, our vision is limited to, like, we walk forwards. We stare in a straight line. We walk forwards. We stare in a straight line. We walk forwards. We stare in a straight line, and we just kind of keep walking. We keep staring forwards. Right. Make sure you're looking around more. Right. Look left. Look right. Look at the high grounds. Pay attention to where people are going to be because this gives us more awareness. When you have better awareness, you can make better decisions. If we see here, for example, oh snap, Hog's looking straight at us. Right. If we look top left here and we are in a second here and we see that Hog's looking at us, then we can go, maybe not, right? And we back off.
Yeah.
So want to just make sure that you're looking around.
Just with the duck.
Nice kill. Okay. There's a pretty easy check to know if she's in there. It's just, did we hear her, like,
Yeah.
footsteps, right? Do we hear her? We don't hear her, therefore she's probably, like, we don't hear her walking towards us, therefore she's probably not there.
30 seconds
Right. Nice high noon. Nice shot. See, when we're aiming and shooting, it feels like we hit some, like, when we're actively in the fight shooting at stuff, it feels like we hit shots. It's just that we don't do it often enough. Like, we're not putting ourselves in positions to hit shots. We're not, for some reason, we just kind of will sit around a lot of the times and not take shots. So that's what you call kind of actions per minute. So basically, how much stuff are you doing per minute? And the higher up in ranks you go, that means you're doing a crap ton of stuff all the time, right? You're doing stuff
Yeah.
every single second of the game, right? The lower in the ranks you go, you see people not really being efficient with their time. They're sitting around a lot. They're not really doing much. So we want to make sure that we're upping our actions per minute, and we're just continuing to actively look to do damage, right? Continuously actively looking to do things, because or we could just see that for the first 3 minutes we just kind of sat around and didn't really shoot a whole lot. When now that we are shooting, we're actually hitting shots and killing things. So we just want to make sure that we're actively looking to hit shots. When someone's right next to us with our flashbang, our flashbang will go past them if they're too close to us. So make sure what we can do with it is
I didn't know
throw it
that.
to the ground. Yep, our flashbang can go past the person, so you want to look at the ground to
Okay.
stop it. Here, why don't we? how much time are we at? We're at 4:38. So we'll go over. You can just get used to flashbang a little bit better. So
Mhm.
a lot of the time when you're looking for a flash, it's a good idea to try to just shoot beforehand, because then you have to two tap someone, right? You can't one tap someone. So if you can shoot them, then flash them, then shoot them again, then that means that we can kill them pretty easily. If we're going on a flank and we miss that first shot, then we might want to right click. But the other thing is, if you're right inside of somebody, then your flashbang can go past them. I don't know if you hit them with it, then it'll hit them. But if you're, for example, if you're just looking to the side, it might end up going past them, right? Or you look a little too around them too much, then it might go past them. So let's see if we can get this right. It'll end up going kind of past them. So when they're right inside of us and right on top of us, we want to look at the ground, because that means that it activates right at our feet. So we can do this, and then that gets the flashbang effect, rather than it just going past the person, right? So again, if they're within, because it's like your ability goes a couple inches, right? We can flashbang from pretty far away. How far is the flashbang? It's like 5 feet or something like that. It goes like 5 feet in front of you, right? Or actually, no, it looks like more like 7 feet. So it goes pretty far. So if somebody's within that distance, they're not gonna get hit by it. So again, like even something like sorry, I hit her again. I'm not used to actively trying to miss it. Alright, so 1 second here, right? So we just throw it, it just misses, right?
Yeah.
Now we were on Temple of Anubis.
Yep.
Now entering the temple ready for battle.
Hopefully this is one with you.
Ready for battle.
Yep.
Group up here. My ultimate. Join me.
Objective A captured. New defense point. Objective B.
Hold up.
Alrighty. Make sure that we're using cover, right? We have this right here. Make sure we're not just standing next to cover, but we're actually using it when people start shooting at us.
Right.
On the Roadhog there, probably you can go for headshots rather than the right clicks. You're going to get more bang for your buck in terms of damage, and you're also going to be saving ammo, and that means you have more shots to work with. So that's just going to be better for you. Usually you're going to go for right clicks if, like, for example, you are behind them. Right, that's usually a good one as well, is when you're behind somebody and you can't headshot them easily. That's when you can right click. On tanks, Ball, when he's, when you're unable to hit his headshot because he's in his ball form, then you can right click into him. But when you're just staring straight at his head right there, just make sure we're going for the headshots. Again, just make sure keeping across their head level as well. So that's just going to allow us to do a little bit more damage.
Well, now.
Okay, again, roll so you can get back from spawn faster. Again, more time you're going to notice where we just kind of chill, hang out, not doing anything. All right, and then we push forwards.
It's high noon.
Alrighty, positioning wise, where is the one place that they have to go when we're about to cap point?
Out of their spot. Either the left side of the spawn or the right side, but people rarely go out of the right, so
Where is the one place that they end up?
on spawn or on the point or
Yep. So where is therefore the most dangerous place for us to be at?
point.
Yep. So when we're capping point on a character like McCree, who we discussed as a medium range character, you're probably gonna be better off sitting somewhere like here. The other thing this does for us is it means that, if we're high nooning, we can cover both right side and left side, and you'll be surprised. People do come out of right side. Like right now, they do have 3 people on right side, 4 people on right side, right? So people do come out right side, and this gives us an angle to hit both see both sides. On top of that, it just makes us a lot safer than being directly on top of point, where they can just run at us and do damage.
Allow me to repair the damage.
This one's mine.
Alrighty, so again, when we're actively in the fight and shooting at stuff, we're doing damage, we're doing things. It's just that we don't really seem to have the best of times in between fights in the poke phase. Just make sure we're actively doing damage, that we're trying to stay alive, as we have pretty low survivability. We are very inefficient in a lot of different areas, so we want to look for consistency. Just in general, consistency is just how you get better at the game. So, like, when you are low ranks, right, you have a ton of inconsistencies. You keep making a ton of tiny little mistakes. The higher up you go, you get rid of those tiny little mistakes, and that's how you get better, as well as just getting efficient in different areas. Now, getting efficient in certain areas, is a little bit weird and hard to get better. It sounds like it's hard to get better at. Did we talk about last time, how you're looking to try to work on these things?
Uh, I
Kind of,
don't.
kind
I
of like the
honestly
application.
don't. I don't think so. I don't know.
All right.
Maybe we did, but I really don't remember.
Yeah, well,
I'm
that's all. That's cool. That we can just re-go over that, right? Um,
sorry.
the easiest way to not improve at the game is to autopilot, right?
Oh yeah.
So we talked about that, right?
I
Um,
think so. Yes.
so essentially, when it comes to getting consistent, and we talked about autopiloting, how you don't want to autopilot, you want to make sure you're concentrating on a certain thing, right? Or one to three things, not everything all at once.
Right.
Um, So when you're trying to look to get it consistent, it's the same exact concept. If you're inconsistent in every single aspect of your kit, look to focus in on each part of your kit at a time and
Hmm.
look at getting consistent at them, right? So if we're inconsistent in everything, just break it apart, go for mechanics first, or go for positioning first, or go for ultimate usage first, and then we focus on making sure we're actively constantly doing damage. Make sure we're constantly doing damage, make sure we're aiming head level, make sure we're keeping crosshair placement consistent, right? And then once we feel like we've gotten a little bit more consistent with that, then we move on to the next thing, right? But so far that's the main thing, is it's just looking like a ton of inconsistencies. I think this time it's not looking like any area is doing any worse than any other area. Maybe, okay, here, maybe not the best position to start off. Right, this is banking on them going left side, which isn't really a guarantee here, and isn't even what a lot of people will do. Instead, you probably just want to be where your team's at, so this is missing out on a ton of time that you could be using to shoot at them. On top of that, if we're looking to get back up on high ground there, just go through this room rather than running all the way underneath here and all the way around up top. Right, this is just more wasted time that we have. Oh, I didn't mean to skip here. So we just waste a bunch more time. This all the time it could be been shooting. Okay. Then we go behind them. Again, wasting a ton more time. Look at old charges of other characters. Right now we're at 7. We have people at 20s, 30s, and 40s. Right. Well, we're at 7.
Don't move.
Okay. There we canceled a reload with a roll, which meant that we lose this fight pretty much just because we do this. Or at least it looks like we're about to lose this. So we first off we cancel the reload with a flashbang, which is all right. Then we reload again, and we cancel it with a roll, right? Had we not canceled it with the roll, that means that or even if we rolled faster here, right? That means that we get a full right click into him. Actually, he used a shield, so that means that if we reloaded, right, that means we get a full right click, then we roll, and then we get a full other right click, right? We get 2 right clicks. Here, because we canceled that, essentially we get 1 right click in the time we could have had 2. Does that make sense?
Yes. I panicked.
Yep. Make sure you're trying not to panic when people are on top of you, right? Panicking obviously makes you make mistakes. It's not good. And if you can take the panic out of the game, you're going to be performing much better. And the best way to do that is just think about how you shouldn't be panicking in a video game where there are no stakes. You're playing for internet points, and you're not in Overwatch League, right? So focus on the fact that it technically doesn't matter, and then therefore you will be doing better. And if you really care about it, then that's how you're actually going to be getting the internet points that you want to get, right? So even if you do care about the fake internet points, right, pretend like you don't, because you fake it till you make it. There's actually scientific reasoning. I can't get into that, but you can watch it. Are you familiar with Matt Patter, game theory or film theory?
Yes.
Yeah,
Game theory.
he goes over. He's gone over how like fake it till you make it is an actual scientific thing that goes on in your head, and if you pretend like you pretend like something has happened, then your brain actually starts to believe it in certain areas. So if you don't pretend like you don't care about fake internet points, that's gonna happen. You're gonna start to perform that way.
Wait, so I shouldn't care about, or like I should pretend not to care about
Yep.
them, or
Pretend
okay.
not to care about it, and therefore that'll put a lot less pressure on you when you're playing. All right.
Alright.
Very delayed with the shot here. Just look.
Yeah.
We see him walk up, flash him, right click him, something. You just hesitate. Okay. Hesitation in general is something that you want to kind of isolate out of your gameplay, right? When you hesitate, inherently hesitation is a mistake or it adds in problems. So, let's say for example, we are looking for our ultimate, right? This is a common one that I go over with people. Is like, if you're looking for your ultimate, if you hesitate, then that means that if it was a good ultimate, now that ultimate's become worse because you passed up the opportunity. And if it was a bad ultimate, now the ultimate is even worse because you delayed it, and now it's an even worse ultimate, right? So, in either case, it's a hesitation makes your decision worse. And if you look to get rid of hesitation as a variable, right, you just, whether for better or for worse, you just do it fast. Make sure you're doing it quickly. You're just making a snap decision, right? Then that means that now you can go, oh, that was a good decision, or yes, that was a good decision, or snap, that was a bad decision, right? It takes out the variable of hesitation, and hesitation as a variable is not, it's an inherently negative variable. You don't want to hesitate because that messes up a bunch of stuff. And when you take that out, that allows you to better analyze, was that a mistake or not, right? So here, just make sure, in general, it seems like we've had a lot of hesitation throughout, pretty much every time we go for a flashbang, we hesitate.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we're just not hesitating, and then that'll let it, allow us to get better at our flashbangs, and allow us to see if we're making the problems or not. All right. Here he jumps off the ledge. We can maybe look to flash him because he has some hang time in midair. We could kind of maybe look for it. You could also try to roll out of the way in that time, right? Just use your abilities.
Surrender to my will.
Back in the saddle again.
Oh, turn it up. Oh, yeah! Allow me to repair the damage.
Right. We come back here. Reinhardt runs straight into us. Make sure we're being aware we're not tunnel visioning on the ball. Even if we're actively shooting at him, we still need to pay attention to this other stuff. Try not to run at the Reinhardt. Back up away from him. You lose if you're trying to run into a Reinhardt, right? So just run into it. Yeah, so back away from him instead of trying to run into him.
Back into the mix.
Healing boom!
Objective lost.
Is my will.
New defense point.
Help me! I need need to surrender to my will.
Okay, more time where we're just kind of sitting around, not doing much. An experiment that you might want to try that could give you a good sense of this would be to go and try to find like a top 500 McCree player and or like GM McCree player, whatever, right? And look at a game of his or a round or something like that, where he played kind of average and you feel like you played kind of average, right? You want to get kind of where he's not playing insanely and you're not playing poorly, right? You don't want that comparison, but a game where you thought you both played average, right? And count how many times did he shoot per minute, right? And just do that quick math because I almost guarantee you'll find that we're shooting probably almost half as much as other people because we're constantly just kind of sitting around not doing much. Want to make sure that we're just up again actions per minute, make sure we're doing more. Flash him there when he's going in for a charge rather than trying to high noon. Throw your flashbang at the floor so you can catch him in it. I very much apologize if it seems like we're all over the place with this session, but to be honest, that's kind of just what the gameplay is bringing up. Is that like it doesn't seem like there's really any areas that we're, like I said before, that we're especially doing poorly in. It's just kind of everything. It's all over the place. So there's not really a real big central theme here, rather than some of them would be like actions per minute is a little bit worse. Ability usage needs a lot of work on it. But then also positioning mechanics need to get consistent.
Yeah, I'm just a trash player. That's why I needed this coaching.
I need to recharge.
Get behind!
For your safety,
I have
stay
found the
behind
enemy!
the barrier.
Come and face me! Turret destroyed!
Get into position. Advised to move behind my barrier.
Let's see. Last time, did we talk a lot, or like, did we talk about off angles?
Yes, we did.
Yes. So that's what I think that we've been maybe attempting to go for pretty frequently here, but just to clarify, because it seems like this has happened a couple times, this is not an off angle right here. This is more so a flank. An off angle would be if we're like left side here, and rather than being with the main team, we're on the left here, and now we can just shoot people who go left, and you can shoot people who go main. We're not very far away from our team, so again, an off angle is short, and an off angle is safe. So the short meaning not just it being close to our team, but also meaning that we're able to participate and engage in the fight. Right? If we're here, we can shoot them the whole way that they're walking in. We have a ton of different angles. We can see left side, we can see under, we can see main, right? And we're getting a different angle. So if they're walking in through main, it's going to be pretty difficult for them to wall off our team or shield off our team and us on the right side, right? So that is an off angle. When we're going right side here, good. What, you say something?
No, I was saying okay.
All right, yep. On the right here, this is more of a flanky angle than an off angle. A flank, again, to clarify the difference between an off angle and a flank, is a flank is long and or dangerous, right? The long part being here, not just that we're walking for a long time. I don't even think that that's really a necessity for it to be a flank, but it's more so that we're just not really in the fight for a long time. Where if we were main, we could have just been sitting, shooting down choke, getting damage in. Here as well, we're very kind of isolated from our team, and we have to it takes a long time to go back. But so that was just really far away from everything that was happening. We also did this kind of like this time it wasn't punished too severely, but just because it wasn't punished doesn't mean it wasn't a mistake. Here we kind of walk all the way around behind them, which just put us outside of the fight for a really long time. It also put us to where we were in a whole lot of danger if they had awareness, right? If this was a gold team, sorry, if this is a gold team, if this was a plat team, if this was a diamond team, they all turn around and we die, right? Because they just are a little bit more aware. So that is another example of a flank that we did. That you just don't want to be doing too often on McCree, so because it puts you out of the fight for a long time, means that you're not participating a whole lot, and then on top of that, it's just really dangerous. Here, that wasn't dangerous per se. It was more that we were just like they're outside of the fight, not really participating a whole bunch. Okay, nice shots. Okay, don't hold crouch while walking at the Adam there. You know, if you're doing that, that's just gonna make him super easy, make you super easy to shoot up, right? Because on his angle, he's basically just shooting at you while you're standing still, right? He rolls around and he's just kind of shooting at you and headshotting you while you're standing still, crouching at him. All right, so make sure we're standing up and we're moving around. We're not walking at him in a straight line, right? This is called AD strafing. Just go left, right, left, right. Are you familiar with AD strafing at all?
Yes.
Yeah, so just make sure you're not standing still, because that's just going to get us killed real easily.
This life's never uneventful.
Behind my barrier.
This is my
Enemy
will.
spotted. You are advised
My
to move
ultimate is
behind
ready.
my barrier.
Join me. This will heal you. Not ready. I will.
It's time.
All right, now again, awareness kind of saves us here, because these guys are also silver, but this is pretty bad positioning where we're at right now.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
That was horrible. I'm
so
sorry.
you're good. You don't have to apologize for it. You know, Reinhardt walks in and he goes to the left, or any of them look at us here, and we just die because we're very isolated from our team and there's nowhere to run. Right? Better positioning would be like more if we are like right with our Orisa here. Um,
Hmm.
you know, but none of them do look at us. Like if they have 5 people in here and Ball's the only one who's really shooting at us. Reinhardt walks past, everyone else is down there. They just kind of sit there. So not really the best positioning, but we survive because Hanzo's not looking at us. If this was a gold Hanzo, maybe he pays attention to you and then he headshots you because you're ulting like an inch from him, right?
It's time.
Good ult though.
Please move behind the barrier.
It'll take more than that.
For your safety, please move behind the barrier.
All right. So why don't we do a review, because I feel like there's a whole lot to review.
Yeah.
Not probably not gonna be any real big main areas here, but still just a whole lot of everything that needs to be worked on. So really focusing on each part, kind of in turn, right? So I'll try to do my best to still give you a list of what needs to be worked on first, because that's still, even if it's maybe not super accurate to what's the most important, it's still good to have that list so that you can just go down the list and go, okay, I want to make sure that I'm focusing on so and so first, right? So when I gave you the main points list last time, you wanted to make sure you're focusing on positioning and survivability first and foremost, right? So here, just make sure that you're going one thing, two things at a time, not trying to focus on everything, because there was a whole lot of everything here.
Yeah.
So let's just go around the list real quick. Ability usage. Okay, flashbang. Make sure that when someone's right inside of you, you're flashing at the floor, and so it doesn't go past them. Or you can just hit them with it. That's another option. If you're approaching from behind on a target, a lot of times people are going to be like kind of hunched over, and their shoulders block a lot of their heads. So if you're coming from behind, sometimes it's better to right click. Other than that, just be really prepared for the flashbang whenever you flash them. Also, just get ready for it, because when you flashbang people, a lot of times they do a head throw. So what I mean by that is, Zarya is a good example of this. Is when you flash a Zarya, look at her head.
Now hold
He kind of
on.
like goes backwards with it, right? And that's just
Yeah.
gonna be very difficult for you to headshot if you're on a side angle to her. If you're on the front line, or not front line, yeah. If you're just looking at her like straight forwards, that just becomes easy to hit. But if you're like looking at her from the side, that becomes very very difficult because she just lunges backwards. So just be very ready because a ton of characters do this. I think Ashe does this as well. So when you flash her, notice she like
Oh,
backs
there.
up, right? A lot of characters do that. So just if you're looking at them from the side, or the back, be ready for them to do it, right? If you're looking at them straight up, no issue. If you're looking at them from behind, no issue. But when you're on the side, just be very careful of that. Um, Besides that, roll. Make sure that you're not shooting, reloading, and then rolling, because that'll just end up canceling it, and you'll get less shots overall. Use it when you're walking back from spawn, so you can get back to the fight faster. As we just kind of hold on to it a little bit. Besides that, just use it pretty frequently. There's no reason to hold on to the ability. You get it pretty fast, and it's not a real important ability. So just make sure that we can use it pretty often if we just want to just get more shots in when we're actively shooting at things. Ultimate, honestly, pretty decent. I'd probably say it would be one of the least needed to be worked on. There still needs a bit of consistency with it. Make sure you're not in bad positioning when you're going for it. But besides that, I don't think we actually needed to talk about our ult too often there. So good job on that end. Just ult charge was a bit slow, but that was like other areas that bleed into it. Now mechanics. One of the biggies this time around. Make sure that we're really respecting crosshair placement. So make sure your crosshair's head level. Make sure that when we know that somebody's on the left, that we're not walking out and then turning left, or right now, right? We're not walking out and then turning right, but that we're walking out, already having a crosshair left side, already having it head level, so that we're coming out here and we're just pretty much already on track to headshots, right? We're already looking at them, right? Because we did that a few times. We did the same thing like over here. Like we kind of walked out. We know they're above us. We walked out and we're just like, where are they at? Oh yeah, right up there. And then we did a very slow turnaround, right? So make sure we're keeping our crosshair where we know people are at. This makes shots easier. Keep your crosshair at head level so the shots become much easier to hit. Much less adjustment, much more spamming. I'm gonna add this into the mechanics category. Actions per minute. We just shoot too little. We're not really doing enough when it comes to just how often we're doing something. We take a lot of just kind of short pauses where we'll kind of be what it looks like is we'll be kind of sitting main with our team, right? And we'll go shoot, 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 and then you'll go pause, 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 shoot, 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 pause, 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 right? And we'll do this like where we kind of aren't really doing much. So just make sure that we're, unless we're low or we have a reason to back up, that we're constantly doing something and we're just sticking out here and actively shooting at things, and we're not taking long pauses. So actions per minute, just make sure keeping up doing stuff. Don't spend too long onto like positioning, and this kind of also impacts actions per minute. Off angles and flank angles. If you're going on flanks, that affects your actions per minute. When you're going on flanks, that puts you outside of the fight for a really long time. Make sure you're not doing that in the middle of the fight. Only times you should really ever be going for flanks is if you're ulting, and that should be preferably in the middle before a fight starts. So if we're before the fight starts, if our team's here and the enemy team's there, right, we can just, before the fight even's happening, we can go all the way around and get ready for an ultimate. But if we're doing this when the team's been in there fighting already for like 10 seconds, then we just did nothing for 10 seconds, right? And now our team's losing the fight. So make sure that we're just actively participating. Go for off angles more often, not flanks. That's, rather than going all the way around, that's us, going in the left room here to just hit headshots. That's us going high ground, right? Going all the way around there isn't going to be too effective, and it takes much too long, right? Now positioning as well, just make sure we're standing next to cover. Don't get too aggressive in rolling into people. Don't go on the open, stand next to cover. And not just stand next to cover, but we also need to make sure that when people are shooting at us, that we duck behind cover, right? It's one thing to be right here so that when people shoot at us, we're safe, but we also need to make sure that we're also ducking around the corner. So pay attention when people are shooting at you, and duck around corners when you start getting shot at. Awareness, pay attention, kill feed, pay attention what your team's up to. Honestly, I think awareness is one of the ones that we were a tiny bit better with, but still needed a little bit of work with.
Yes.
Kind of like your ultimates, just, we didn't mention it too much, but it's still something that needs to get a little bit consistent. Make sure you're paying attention, kill feed, pay attention to your team, pay attention to the enemy team. All right. And then that is pretty much most of the categories, I believe. Main things, probably would say that mechanics and actions per minute was a very major thing this time. After that, I believe will come ability usage. And then thirdly comes positioning. Right, and then after mechanics, ability usage, positioning will come awareness, and then finally your ultimates. Ultimates are actually looking pretty solid. And that's kind of the order that these things need to kind of be worked on.
Triple kill.
Alrighty, any questions?
Knock 'em down.
Double
No, not that I know of.
Alrighty.
double kill.
Well then, let me end the recording there then.